lots of questions, comments. I'll take them right at the end.
Yeah.
Mr. Parigi is complimenting you, Mr. Amba Pritam Parigi.
Yes.
He's made a comment. There are another 5 questions. I want to ask you my last 2 questions before I bring in the audience.
Yes.
One is, Mr. Mariwala, you kind of achieved a lot. You built a big company. It continues to perform well, where you're not operationally involved. You're involved in strategy, the chairman of the board, and in strategic imperatives. You've raised the family, your grandchildren, both your son and daughter are doing the right things. You kind of started new ventures like Kaya, got them to a level. You had a family office that is invested. You had a Marico Innovation Foundation. So you've pretty much done everything one could have done. Is there a bucket list that Mr. Mariwala has?
There is always a bucket list.
We'd love to know what's on the bucket list.
So, always think that what else can I do and how can I add value to others? And I always have this thing that, you have to make a difference and make a difference in whatever you do. So I think the key thing is how can you make a difference in whatever you do? So even if I'm running a company, how can I add value to all my stakeholders and not just shareholders? So whether it is my own employees by creating the right culture, or key associates where I help them improve their cost structure, or the society where I can fuel innovation, or the customers where you go beyond just supplying a product and give advice in terms of healthy lifestyle through a brand like Saffola or a brand like Shanti Amla, where we give a lot of free education to girl child. So I think the key thing is what can you do more and more to all the stakeholders in the company. And in addition to that, from a personal side, I have this thing that, I just don't want to give a donation to somebody else for a cause. I have to for me, it's active giving, where I have to be involved personally in what I give financially. So I am helping, from my personal side, I'm helping entrepreneurs to scale up. And I spend about 20% of my time in that, in terms of mentoring them, giving them advice, and creating frameworks where they learn from each other. And we today have about something like 650 entrepreneurs above a certain size, and minimum size is, I think, if you're a service industry, 1 crore. If you are in manufacturing, 5 crores. And you apply, you become members. And I would want any entrepreneurs who are listening today to see whether they can be a part of what we are offering. It's under Ascent Foundation.in. That's our website. Please go and have a look at what we are offering. And I can tell you that you will benefit a lot. It doesn't cost anything. All you have to do is to be running a business which is breaking even and of a certain size, and commit to some time. And this is now scaled out to all India, and we expect that over the next few months we will be 1,000+ members. So basically what I'm trying to say is active giving. We also do a lot of work in the area of mental health, which my daughter is looking after. It's under MHI, which is Mariwala Health Initiative. And we give grants to leading organizations in India which are doing work in the area of mental health. And we are the, I think, leading agency in India which gives grants. On average, we give, as of today, about 8-10 crores per annum to organizations which are doing work in marginalized communities. And these are organizations which are doing work in slums, in backward areas, in some marginalized communities which have been neglected, scheduled caste, LGBTQ communities. And I think these communities need much more help in the area of mental health. And we're also running a mental health help call line, which is free to anybody. It's run by Tata Institute of Social Sciences under the name of iCall, and we support them financially. So we have a 14-member call center, and again, doing a lot of work, especially in these times, where anybody can call up, absolutely confidential. Nobody knows. I also don't know who will call up. So I think I want to give more and more of my time as well as my resources in doing newer things. Even in Marico Innovation Foundation, I talked about what we have, how I am spending time in helping innovative organizations scale up. I also want to start new business. Just started a new business which is in the area of only in Bombay, prototype which is known aquacentric, basically recovery from injuries through the water route, by being in the pool, and water is very, very effective for recovery in injuries. And we've some phenomenal results from people who had suffered, who were part paralyzed, and now they're able to move. So we would like to expand that all on an all India basis. So lots and lots of things in the pipeline. Plus, in addition to that, expanding Kaya. Now we've gone in a very big way through the e-consulting route in Kaya. And I think that's something which I'm looking forward to. So life is full of challenges. It's ups and downs, but it's very exciting.
Thank you, Mr. Mariwala. You're contributing in terms of entrepreneurship. You're contributing in terms of innovation. You're contributing in terms of mental health. You're contributing in terms of philanthropy through various initiatives. Will you ever enter education? I know in essence, in some way it is quasi-education because you mentor.
I like doing things which are, Anurag, before I started identifying my giving initiatives, I said I want to enter a field where I can be a pioneer and I can be a thought leader. Now, education there are so many thought leaders already in education, starting from Azim Premji to Bharati Foundation to many others. And a lot of people are doing very good work. So we said that we'll enter fields where the others are not doing work. And that's how I identified entrepreneurship, I identified mental health, I identified innovation. And I think that's where we are moving towards. So I don't think we will move towards education, but I think most likely I'm very fascinated by social entrepreneurs. So we may want to do something in the area of social entrepreneurship.
Thank you, Mr. Mariwala.
Yeah.
My last question, can innovation be the pivot around which India can rise again? I mean, we are doing well, but last 5 months have wiped off 20% of our GDP, if not more. It has taken away more than 12 million jobs. There are even higher numbers. So how do you think innovation, frugal innovation, is the pivot which will get India's GDP back?
So I would definitely say yes. Innovation is going to be very crucial, and especially the role of technology has increased dramatically in the last few years. The whole digital AI, robotics, and you combine all this technology and you're seeing huge impact, and especially in social sectors like education, healthcare, agriculture. I think innovations can play a huge role, and we've already seen examples like Byju's and many others, making waves in these areas. And it'll help us step jump. We saw what happened with mobiles in terms of, overall productivity, impact on GDP growth rates, impact on our lives. And I see a huge opportunity definitely in education, healthcare, agriculture. We need to take a quantum jump, and innovation can only help us taking that quantum jump on the back of the technologies which have emerged in the recent past.
Fantastic. Now at this point, let me bring in audience questions. There are about 13 of them, but I won't be able to take all of them. But A.G. Narayanan is asking, do you think self-reliance that the government is talking about is possible? And let me add to it, do you think India will become an alternative to the Chinese in terms of manufacturing?
See, I see a long way to go. We have to make a lot of changes. Why have we not done as well as China? I would like to look at that first. Rather than say that China has done better and we just ban some imports and we'll do well. I think there are some fundamental issues which are impacting our entrepreneurs in terms of our cost structures, our ability to perform at a global level in terms of innovations or pricing. Then we have to look at what has prevented us. So things like what comes to my mind is land issues, labor issues, judicial delays, ease of doing businesses. I think a combination of all these have impacted, and we need to be far more plus freight costs, even electricity costs. This whole thing of giving subsidy to one sector impacts some other sector. If you are giving electrical subsidy to farmers, then it impacts again. Somebody else has to pay for it. And so the same thing is for water or for freight. So I think we have to relook at the fundamentals and make industry far more competitive. I think that would be a very, very critical step. Secondly, of course, if China is dumping, you need to have some duties to ensure that something which is sold at below the cost shouldn't impact the Indian industry. But I am not in favor of complete protection to an Indian industry, because that will not force you to be competitive. You have to be competitive so that you are able to export at a global level, and that can only come in if the competition is very high. So I think the Atmanirbhar is at one level is a call to say that we have to improve our overall competencies, our way of doing things. We have to be far more competitive. But my answer to that: don't go overboard on protectionism. Don't go overboard on self-reliant. We have to leverage things we are good at, and not each and everything which the country needs. Otherwise, the cost of doing that, because if you don't have something which you try to grow, and if the climate conditions are not amenable to that, say, crop, then you are unnecessarily trying to tax the system just because you want to be self-reliant.
Fantastic. Mr. Parigi has asked you a question.
Yeah.
He's complimented you on what you've done overall, and he's asked you this question on the migrant labor. What's your view in terms of long term?
So I am very, very, I feel very bad about this whole thing. I think the whole thing could have been handled much better. The fact that the lockdown happened overnight led to a situation of huge fear. And what they've gone through is something which is, it's shameful, absolutely. And when you see individuals walking all the way thousands of miles in the heat in the middle of the summer and without any food, I think a lot more could have been done in terms of ensuring that they return back home safely. But that's behind us. I think I was told that most of the migrant laborers who went there, I think to some extent they were occupied because of the agricultural whatever need in terms of crop. But once the crop is harvested and Diwali comes in, a lot of them will return. Some of them have already returned. And then again depends on how the NREGA is implemented. So if there are jobs created, people would like to stay in their hometowns rather than coming in big cities and staying in slums, or staying in chawls. So ideally speaking, if this COVID can lead to a situation where, jobs are created across India in smaller towns also, opportunities are created, so either through agriculture or through whatever infrastructure building, I think the need for the migrant labor would come down. To that extent, of course, to some extent, it may impact the overall cost of labor in big cities. But the key thing is for us also as industrialists to go into interior areas and leverage them and not bring them to big cities to give them employment. So I would say that a lot needs to be done. And I think it's very important for the industry to play that role.
Okay. Mr. Raghav, let's get Mr. Parigi on video to ask the question. Keep him ready. There's another question.
Okay.
Kanwaljit Sareen is asking you, despite some current trends, many consumer products have been tested on animals. What are your thoughts on this?
So I think it's wrong. I am a strong believer that one should not test on animals. And I don't know what is being tested, but I think I have a larger issue in terms of forget about testing on animals. I am a very staunch believer in being a vegetarian. And this trend, I can say that I think there is going to be a trend towards vegan foods, more vegetarian, more organic foods. We have seen that, this whole COVID has happened because of some infection coming in from animals or bats or birds. So there is going to be higher sensitivity to treating animals, to looking at sustainable issues. And I would strongly feel that apart from testing on animals, we should look at how we are dealing with animals in all aspects,
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Momita Sanan is asking you, good afternoon. Thank you, BW, for organizing this. I have always been a huge fan of Mr. Mariwal's leadership and vision. I am in the space of talent and skill and development. And then I'm encountering an ironical situation in the post-COVID world. While this pandemic has proven the need for innovation and design thinking, most of the corporates need quite a bit of focus on these aspects to survive today and thrive tomorrow. But I'm not getting enough business. What should she do?
So I think I'm sure one thing I can say very confidently that each and every CEO, innovation is almost on top of the agenda. That the organizations have to innovate. Now, I think you need one of the constituents of innovation is to have the right set of people, diverse set of people who think differently and who are willing to take risk and who are not afraid of failures. So I think if I was you, then I would offer people who are innovative and make shall I say, a pitch to the corporates that whoever I'm offering is innovative because they think differently. They are willing to take risks and try and appeal to them to prototype that but that's one aspect only. I think innovation just doesn't happen by just recruiting the right people. You need to create the right culture. And I think that's where the role of leadership is very, very important, to create the right culture of innovation, which again depends on diversity of people, reinforcing innovation within your talent pool, encouraging people to take risks, experimentation, prototyping, and finally, if the innovation is failed, then not punishing those failures, and also rewarding successful innovator and talking about innovations which have happened across the organization on a perpetual basis. And innovation is just not new products. To me, innovation can happen in anything, at a factory floor, it can happen in any function, it could happen with any process. Anything which is unique, which adds value, to me is innovation, And, you can go on saying that I want big bang innovation, but to have an innovation culture, you need to have a continuous stream of innovation, small innovation, so people go on thinking on innovation. Each and every person in the organizations thinks innovative on a perpetual basis.
Fantastic. There are some comments which I read out very quickly. Professor UM Amin is saying, I teach Marico as a case study in my class. Chirag Vora is asking you, when are we going to see the new normal? Are vaccines the way forward? And how far are the vaccines? What's your assessment, Mr. Mariwala?
So I'm not a doctor, or I'm not from the medical or pharma industry, but I get but I go on talking to people. I get two sets of views on the vaccine. There are a whole set of people who are vaccine manufacturers. They're saying it's a matter of time, 3 months, 6 months. And then I go to some pharma experts and they said, there is no way it will come out. You have to wait for minimum 2 years, 3 years, I really don't know what is the answer. And they said it will come out, but it will be risky. So I would, I don't know, frankly. I hope it comes out earlier as possible, but it should be safe. And it should last for at least a period of 1 year, the immunity, So one has to wait and watch. But I'm sure that whoever comes out with the vaccine, they will have some data to back up on safety and on immunity in terms of the length of immunity period. But we'll have to wait and watch. I don't want to speculate whether it will happen this year or next year or after years. I think we have to be mentally prepared that this may go on for longer than 1 year.
Thank you. Let me at this point bring another person I admire and look up to, Mr. A.P. Parigi. Mr. Parigi, you can ask Mr. Mariwala a question.
Hi, Harsh. How are you?
Very well. And you?
Good, Harsh. I haven't till this year missed your innovation leadership.
Yes. So we had actually what happened, Mr. Parigi, we had this award function on March 17th, and last minute we had to cancel. Now we have decided to have it on a virtual basis, the same function. I think it's fixed for sometime in October. First week. It's a Friday. I don't remember, 9th or something. I think it's 9th. 9th October. Yes. I will send you the invite, but even Anurag, whoever you want to. Now that we are going to have virtual, I have told the team we should have 5,000 people.
I have to tell you, Mr. Mariwala, 3 years back I came, in spite of it being in the other side of the town. Because, So it is a great pull. I met Mr. Parigi. Actually, I was sitting with Mr. Parigi at the function.
Yes. So please do attend and invite whoever wants to attend in your whatever database. I'll ask the team to send it to you. But it will be the same program. All the winners were chosen. They were trained. So everything is ready. And we just cancelled about a week or 10 days prior to the event. We spent a lot of money on the event, the venue and all that, but anyway, that doesn't matter. We'll do it on a virtual basis because we had to do it, and we could not have waited. We waited for 3-4 months to find out whether things will be back to normal, but I don't think that things will be back to normal at least in this year. Yes.
I'm sure someone like you would have crossed your mind.
Yes.
Is there some way some of us or many of us or can assist any of your missionary zeal? Let's presume in the next 12 months the vaccine is available, either in or domestically.
Yeah.
Purely at the non-political level, based on your interface on ventilator,
yes,
interface on learnings from PPE.
Yes.
You're now going into sanitizers, manufacturing.
Yes.
Can we either through Marico Innovation, which is my preferred venue, or FICCI or CI, start working, presuming the vials are available, imported or domestic? How can we help the government without all the noise in a non-political, managerial Marico Innovation, Mariwala style, with the distribution logistics?
So, I don't know to what extent will the government... Yeah, I think it's a very valid point. It's a big challenge, and it has to be done in a very fair manner. And you don't want black marketing of the vials or going into wrong hands, and you have to prioritize. I reckon you'll have to prioritize, high risk, especially the biggest risk will be the health workers, followed by maybe the aged with comorbidities, followed by certain age groups and things like that. But I don't know to what extent will the government want the private sector to come in, because, they don't want to be... I am not trying to say that we should not do it, but they may not want to get associated with a company, and they may want to do it more with an association, as I see it, like a CI or FICCI or Pharma Association, because that, I think that favoritism, they don't want, definitely they may not want to get associated with a company. But it's a good point. Let me, I think I know the people in Niti Aayog, Rajiv Kumar and Amitabh Kant, and they will be, I think they'll be playing an important role.
Yeah.
And we also have been interacting with the Indian Council of Medical Research through Dr. Mashilkar, and because of these awards.
Yeah.
So we can, I think that the work is, from what I heard, has already begun, because, you can't wait for the vaccine to come out and then start thinking how to distribute.
Right.
So I think the thinking on that has already begun. And let me find out whether is there any scope for us to do. I don't think I'm a part of FICCI also. I was earlier heading FICCI about 7-8 years back. So, but 10 years back. But I don't think FICCI has been involved in terms of asking them to give advice. It is currently being done internally in the government circles. But I can check with Niti Aayog and find out whether can the private sector play any role in this.
Thank you.
But if you want to play any role, we involve a lot of thought leaders, CEOs in both in our Ascent, which is for helping entrepreneurs scale up, as well as in Marico Innovation Foundation. We again work with 10 to 12 organizations, innovative organizations, in helping them scale up. And we work with many CEOs who have shown a desire to work with such organizations. So we have some sort of mentoring program.
Sure.
So if you are keen, or if Anurag, if any of people whom you know are keen, the most welcome. And I can assure you that it will be a lot of rewarding kind of conversations. It's we are giving it free, all this, and we would expect that the person who would come in also would
pro bono.
Pro bono.
No.
But it's a way of giving something back,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm open, and I'll drop a line.
Yeah, if you can send me. You send me a line at hcm@marico.com.
Yeah.
hcm@marico.com.
HCMA.
And anybody else, any listener,
Mr. Harsh C. Mariwala. So
no. HCM. Yeah.
So that I'm explaining that.
Correct. You're right. Absolutely.
HCM at Marico.
HCM@marico.com.
Anyone who wants to mail Mr. Mariwala.
Anybody else wants to get any information, whoever is listener, most welcome to send me a mail.
There's one question from a young gentleman called Akshay X. Mr. Mariwala, how do you foresee the long-term business landscape in India post-COVID? Do you see it changing drastically? Which industries do you see having the greatest potential for innovation in these unprecedented times? And one more additional question from him.
Oh my God, so many.
You have aged so gracefully. A few life mantras to live and grow well and live well. This would be very useful for the young business community. Yes, these are.
So let me start by saying that never waste a crisis. This is a crisis of unimaginable proportions, and we should not waste this crisis. There have been huge learnings. There are huge set of newer opportunities, and all of us have to learn whatever, whether we are a leader or at a family level, or in terms of the kind of business you are in. There are newer ways of doing things, working from home, having whatever meetings where you don't need to call people, or the newer opportunities which have opened up. And we have seen in the past pandemics and past crises, a lot of new businesses have come up. So I personally think that one should look at from an optimistic angle. This too shall pass. You have to have the patience, you have to have the grit to pass these times, which are tough times, again, depending on the kind of business one is in. But I think I'm looking at future very, very optimistically. And I see a very good future for India as well as for at a global level in terms of newer businesses, newer way of doing things, newer opportunities. And I think we just have to ensure that this current phase, we are able to go through that and use this period to identify newer way of doing things, newer opportunities, do insighting, set up new businesses, find out new ways of giving something back to society. So net, I would say that I would be optimistic of the future.
Okay.
Anything, one or two more questions were asked. I don't know, 2-3 questions.
How do you live? How do you age gracefully? Is there advice to young professionals and entrepreneurs?
I think you have to lead a healthy.
Not that I'm suggesting that you age, but I would ask the same question to you also. But first, Mr. Mariko.
I thought I had answered that question by saying that you need to take care of your stress, mental health, physical health, spiritual health, and you need to do all these things simultaneously, including eating the healthy food. So if you do all that, then I think you are enjoying life. And I'm a strong believer in preventive, basically lifestyle which will prevent diseases, not. And a lot of today's diseases, whether it's diabetes, heart issues, are related to overweight, related to wrong eating habits. I think a lot of them can be rectified if you lead the right lifestyle, even on the mental side also. So I would say lead the right lifestyle from all angles, physical, spiritual, as well as from mental health point of view.
Thank you. There's one question from Anand Rathi. One comment and one question. And I would like you to respond to the comment. He says, Marico has always been coming up with innovative products. Then why has Marico considered to start with a product like honey and sanitizer, which is very generic? It's very simple.
So I think all I can say is you wait for some time. We will have some innovations coming up in these products also. It's a matter of time, but there was a big trend and we had to catch a trend, and at the same time we identified some innovations within these categories. Ultimately, I think we have to see that whatever we're doing, we can actually be the market leaders. So because we entered sanitizers, we came up with an innovation in terms of Veggie Clean, and we have a set of innovations in the pipeline in the area of hygiene. So it will come out. I can't share at this stage. Honey is something which we realized that we can offer a product where no artificial sugar is added. And many honeys, unfortunately, in India are adding sugar and reducing cost. And we wanted to offer a pure honey product. So I think that's what, and it fitted into the brand Saffola. So that's why we offered Saffola honey, and the initial response is quite encouraging. And again, there also we see opportunities for innovation in the honey field.
Mr. Parigi, how does one age gracefully? Not that you age, you're very young, but I mean...
I think I and Harsh are practically years. I don't know. In fact, I don't want to repeat. Harsh has already answered the question on that. But someone asked me in Boston in one of my US visits on a lecture, Harsh, you define age, and I found several answers. But coming from an old vegetarian hang-up background, I said, look, your food is important, right? Yes. But more important is, I think the day, at least this is, I believe, the untold secret of Harsh Mariwala. And I'm going to put it on TV today. Anurag, the day you stop listening to other people's good ideas, that's when you age, Harsh. What do you think, so Harsh? The day we are not open to other people's ideas, that day I think, Anurag, I have aged.
Yeah.
Sure. Do you think so, Harsh? That's what Harsh is all about.
Yeah, I think I fully agree with you. I think that openness is very important. For openness to happen, you need to actually shed your ego. You have to be open to even to at the lowest level of your organization, at a workman level. You should go and ask them, what can I do?
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And
so you have to shed your ego and show willingness to learn. You know, if somebody says something and you give a message that I know it all, then that person will stop giving that.
In fact, in Radio Mirchi, the only principle we follow is that the guy who gets off the suburban train is more important than Mr. Bachchan visiting Radio Mirchi's studio.
Yeah. Fantastic. Thank you so much. Mr. Mariwala, you said that you read a lot of books. So I would like to end by asking you, are there some books that you would like to recommend?
So, I'm writing a book, by the way.
Okay, and what are you
writing?
It'll
get published by February, March. I wanted things to normalize. The book is almost ready. It's a book on my own life. And the name of the book is Harsh Reality. So it's a pun on my word. So this will get published by Penguin Random House. I have a co-author also. And I know Professor Ramcharan very well. So he has helped me in co-write. So it's a book mainly written by me, but he gives his insight at the end of each chapter about what we've done. And I've covered the whole thing about how do you create the right portfolio of products, to board effectiveness, to purpose of an organization, how do you build a culture in an organization, how do you innovate. So that's what the book is about. And so I think I would recommend that maybe all your readers can read it. Maybe it will happen after 6 to 8 months. But one book which is of late, which has influenced me, not in recent past, but is a book by the name of Grit, Grit. So I think this book talks about the need to have grit. And many a times, all these times I used to read passion. Yes, passion is important, the book says. But passion has to be combined with determination and perseverance. And then you get grit. Because many times you have passion, and if you lose something, if you don't do well and you give up on that passion, it's gone. But if you have determination, if you have perseverance combined with passion, then you will develop grit. And I think grit is very important for everybody in this world to move forward, because every person is going to get setbacks in life. And if you have grit, then you will fight back on your own. And you will find ways to fight back on your own, because you have that passion, you have that determination, you have that perseverance. No?
Absolutely.
So I would say grit is very, very crucial.
Thank you so much, Mr. Mariwala. Always a pleasure to speak to you.
Thank you so much. All the best to you.
Adding your
Thank you, Mr. Parige.
Inputs. We kind of completed the conversation. So we wish you more grit, and I'm sure everyone will be able to learn from the harsh or the harsh reality. Harsh means ullas, it means festivity. So I don't know, it's about the festive realities of the hard realities, but we look forward to your book. And thank you for leading by example, and you're having sync in what you say. And as I said, you exemplify Stephen Covey's saying, "Do the right thing for the right reason in the right manner." So whenever I talk to you, that's the sentiment that gets reinforced. So we wish you luck, and I'm sure the function in October will also be very successful. Possibly more people attending virtually than you get physically. So
thank you very much, Anurag, and my pleasure to be with you and all your colleagues and those who are watching this show. But thank you and wish you all the best, and hopefully this too will pass, and please look at future with a lot of optimism.
Thank you so much. God bless you. Good afternoon. Thank you, Mr. Parige.
Thank you very much, Anurag.
Thank you.
Business world. Thank you, Anurag. Thank you, Harsh. Bye.
Thank you, Mr. Parige.